Consider the following formula. Which of the following statements is true for this formula? To solve this question, we're going to need to take the value of q given to us here as w minus 1 and substitute that in for every value of q given so that each of our inequalities will only have one variable. That way we can simplify them and tell if they are true or false. Let's start with answer choice A. W plus q, which we know to be w minus 1, is greater than 0. When we simplify, we'll have w plus w minus 1. W plus w will give us 2w minus 1 is greater than 0. And at this point, we'll need to do opposite operations to isolate our variable w. The opposite of subtracting 1 would be adding 1 to both sides. These will cancel, leaving us with 2w is greater than 1. Then 2 is being multiplied to w, so the opposite would be dividing both sides by 2. These will cancel, leaving us with w is greater than 1/2. Now, a variable can be any real number, and a real number is not defined as being only greater than 1/2. There are some whole numbers or some real numbers that are less than 1/2, so that makes this statement incorrect and therefore makes A incorrect. Now let's look at answer choice B. We have q, which is equal to w minus 1, plus w is greater than 2q, which we know is equal to w minus 1. Now if we simplify, we'll have w minus 1 plus w is greater than 2 times w gives us 2w, and then 2 times negative 1 will give us negative 2. On our left side, we can combine like terms. W plus w will give us 2w minus 1 is greater than 2w minus 2. Now here we can stop. We don't have to simplify anymore because we can see that we have two terms that are equivalent, 2w and 2w. So those are going to end up canceling each other out and leaving us with the statement negative 1 is greater than negative 2. And this is a true statement. Negative 1, the smaller a negative number is, the closer to 0, the greater its value. So negative 1 is closer to 0, that means it is a greater value than negative 2, and that makes B a true statement. At this point, you can mark B and move on with the rest of the test, but for the sake of the video, I'll show you why C and D are incorrect. Now let's look at answer choice C. C has w minus q, which we know to be w minus 1, is less than 0. Here, when we're simplifying, we need to be very careful because this negative sign is outside of the set of parentheses. And if anything exists in math, there's always one of them. So there's a negative 1 coefficient here that needs to be distributed. Negative 1 times w will give us negative w, and then negative 1 times negative 1 will give us a positive 1 is less than 0. Here, w minus w will cancel each other out, leaving us with positive 1 is less than 0, which is an untrue statement, making C incorrect. And now, for answer choice D, we'll have q, which we know is w minus 1, minus w is greater than w minus q, which we know to be w minus 1. When we simplify both of these, on the left-hand side, we'll have w minus 1 minus w is greater than, and on the left side, we'll have the same problem we had up here where we have a negative sign outside of a set of parentheses. That's a negative 1 that needs to be distributed. Negative 1 times w will give us negative w. And then negative 1 times negative 1 will give us a positive 1. So here, it's time to simplify and combine our like terms. We have w minus w will give us 0, so we can cancel both of these out. We're left with negative 1 is greater than w minus w again gives us 0, canceling out, leaving us with positive 1. This is a false statement. Negative 1 is not greater than positive 1. No negative number is greater than any positive number, making D incorrect and making B our correct answer.